for taking
Thank you
care of
everyone for joining us. Really appreciate this. Thank you for depending on us. We do value you guys as clients. I know these are difficult times, and so we're trying to get information out to you as quickly as possible. There is a lot of misinformation out there on the financial side of COVID packages and benefits available out there. And to complicate that, there is also some back and forth from government announcements and then changes to those announcements as well. So we are trying to keep on top of this as much as possible. We do have we're tweeting out whenever we found out information at Equitus Partners. We have a blog on our website, so check out the Equitus website. And a lot of the Shijani materials is being posted on the Equitus website as well. There'll be more on that, the Shijani and Equitus working together in the coming weeks. We're just sorting out some details with CPA right now, but that's all working in progress. There's also a lot of people putting information out there that's making things a little bit confusing for people, and even in terms of application and some deadlines. And that's not necessarily coming from just the media, but it's sometimes coming from the government agencies themselves. And so we're going to try and make that a little bit more clear today, at least for what's current as of today. Never know about tomorrow, but we will keep on top of this and endeavor to get to you guys as soon as we can. So our agenda for today, we're going to talk about tax filing deadlines that have changed, as well as tax payment deferrals. Those are different dates. We're going to talk about bank loan payment deferrals. We're talking about temporary wage subsidies as well. A lot of you have asked about that. How to fill out ROEs for your employees. Unfortunately, it's come to that. A lot of people want to know how to fill out those ROEs so that way their employees get the best benefits out there. We're also going to talk about EI for employees. We're going to go through the Alberta Emergency Isolation Support. You guys for sure want to stick around for that. That's available as of today. And we'll take you through a step-by-step process on how you can get that money, even hopefully today. We're going to go through the emergency care benefit and the emergency support benefits, which are, as of today, no longer available. Those are canceled even before they got implemented. That was the announcements that came out on March 18th by the federal government. And that has been replaced by the Canada Emergency Response Benefit. So we'll go through that and what's in line for that. And then there will be some lighter areas as well, which include the Canada Child Benefit. There's a little bit of a supplement there. There's an extra GST credit, what WCB is doing, some property tax changes, and some additional resources. And then we'll end the day with some questions as well. As I kind of go through this, I'll be talking a little bit, so I know Shafiq and Raj and Sushant, they're going to be answering a lot of the questions through chat. Hopefully they're able to find where that chat is, and then we can kind of at least get your questions answered as well. So tax filing deadlines. So your personal tax filing, first of all, the due date. The due date has been changed from April 30th. You're all used to filing your taxes by April 30th of each year. That's being changed to June 1st, 2020. So that's your tax filing deadline. We have not got any information on the sole proprietorships. Those deadlines are supposed to be June 15th for the filing. So we're assuming that's staying the same. For your tax payments, that due date has changed to September 1st, 2020. Now that's right off of CRA's website. I know a lot of people have been told August 31st. That was the initial response that came out. But if you look at Finance Canada's wording, the Department of Finance wording, it was after August 31st. So September 1st is the first day after August 31st. And so your tax payments are due by September 1st, 2020. And that's right on CRA's website as of today as well. A lot of you are asking, okay, I understand that's my payment deadline for my personal tax. What about my corporate taxes? Your corporate tax payments, if you have any payments, and the way that the Department of Finance worded the everything was anything that's due between March 18th, when they made the announcement, and August 31st is now due after August 31st. So if you have a December year-end, corporate year-end, your taxes were due March 31st. That is now due September 1st, all the way down to January, February, March, and April. Those corporate fiscal year-ends, those tax payments are now due September 1st, 2020. And many of you are asking about your tax installments. Your tax installments can also be made, if you have any tax installments due between March 18th and August 31st, those installments can also be made on September 1st, 2020, or before, of course. So I'm going to push this to Sushant if I can figure out how to unmute everyone, and he's going to talk about some of the benefits available for banking.
So banking is its own beast. I think one of the major bills we have is always commercial loans and debt payments. And every bank is kind of dealing with it in a different way. And not only banks are dealing it in a different way, but they're also dealing with each and every client by case basis. So there is no straightforward answer for how the banks are going to take this, but every bank, and we have a whole blog available on our website under blog about this, but every bank is kind of dealing with this in its own zone. Some of the banks have said, bluntly come out and said that we're going to do principal deferment. Some of the banks have said that you have to contact them and they will see what the equity position is and things like that. So so far we have heard the ATB to be the most aggressive in this way, because ATB, for a lot of commercial loans, they have offered some of our clients principal as well as interest deferment, and it really depends upon one's situation. What's the equity in their business or real estate or whatever it is, and whatever the relationship is. So to give you a quick answer, that everybody should contact their account manager from the bank and try to deal with this, and banks are very cooperative, and they are getting back to most people immediately. So everybody has been instructed to get back to their respective clients. RBC is working as well with a lot of their clients, which is basically principal deferment, but not the interest. So there's going to be a lot of 101 negotiations with the bank, and it would be helpful to understand what type of arrangement you're getting into with the bank, because if you commit to something and you're not able to deliver on what you've committed, they may see this as breach of the contract, or that type of a thing. So make sure you understand what you have in the pocket, what you want to sort of make the bank aware of your situation. And if you have to talk about your personal situation with any of the partners, pick up the phone and talk to them about what do you think can be done with the bank. So we'll be available to answer any of these questions 101. I think that's pretty much it from me here, Nizam.
Thanks, Sushant. The next area we want to cover is the temporary wage subsidy. So this is something that was also announced on March 18th for a lot of employers, and the announcement was a 10% of the remuneration that you pay your employees will be reimbursed to the employer to a maximum of $25,000. They've added some caveats in there since then. First, we need to figure out who qualifies. That's the first thing a lot of people want to see is, do I qualify? Well, it's a broad qualification. They're allowing any Canadian-controlled private corporation, registered charity, or not-for-profit organization to apply for this funding or this subsidy. And they've actually gone as far as underlying that associate corporations may not have to share this maximum amount as well. So they do want to provide you with that subsidy. Now, a lot of people are going to go on to discuss about, okay, I'm getting a 10% subsidy. What about the other 90%? If my revenues are at zero, how am I supposed to pay the other 90% to my employees? And that is still a question mark. There are going to be some EI discussions that we have a little bit later, and there's a new provision that was announced today. Not going to be quite enough, but it is going to be something. But at least for the employees that you continue to employ, you will be able to get up to 10% of a subsidy on what you pay them. So this is for salaries, wages, bonuses, and other remuneration for an employee. It does not make it clear, but it's very likely that your contractors would not qualify under this. So if you have employees, they do qualify. However, your contractors likely do not. So we also need to look at a little bit of the fine details. So there's a maximum per employee. If you're paying your so the maximum is $1,375 per employee, and that's over a 3-month period. So so that $1,375 is not per month, but that's over the 3-month period that they're allowing, and that's per employee. And how you're going to collect this is you're going to reduce the remittance of your federal and provincial taxes by the amount of the subsidy. So first thing we need to do is calculate the subsidy, and then once you calculate the subsidy, on the remittance portion, that's the amount that you're going to remit less to the government. We've done a table here. Now, the subsidy itself will have to be calculated manually. I've done this table. I'm hoping that a lot of people can follow up. You don't necessarily need to be an accountant, but it does get a little tricky at times. So if you look at the first line there, I've made up some employee names here. So Anne. If Anne is getting $5,000 a month, you can see that she gets a subsidy in the first month of $500. So she gets her $5,000 remuneration. The wage subsidy that the government is going to give you is $500 on that. You get another $500 the following month. So we're looking at a March 31st payment, the April 30th payment, and the May 31st payment. And if you notice, by the time she gets end of May, she's already got, if we were to give her another $500, she'd be over the total per employee amount. So she only gets $375 or the employer only gets $375 as a subsidy in that 3rd month. Remember, each employee over this period of time cannot go over $1,375. So you can see that it works in March and April. And then in May, we have to have a little bit of a decrease in the amount of subsidy that's available for Anne. The example for Bob is a unique one. That one is the perfect amount that works with this calculation. So if your employee, if any of them are getting a gross pay of $4,583 a month, they will get a subsidy each month of $458. And so they will get the maximum subsidy over that 3-month period. So for in this example, Bob will get that $1,375. We have Carl as an example here as well. Carl is getting $3,500. He gets $350 every month. He never reaches that $1,375 maximum, and he won't get it because his gross pay is $3,500 a month. And so the maximum you can get as a subsidy for Carl is $350 a month. So over 3 months, that's going to be $1,050. We also have an example. We'll drop down to Heather. Now Heather is must be a very key executive type employee. She's getting a remuneration of $14,000 a month. And so she doesn't even get that full 10% in the first month. She maxes out in the first month at $1,375 and no subsidy in the subsequent 2 months. And so you can see her total subsidy is $1,375. So what you really need to get out of this is there is a maximum per employee, and then you also have to keep in mind the maximum per employer is $25,000. So this example is showing us the total subsidy of $8,350. And a lot of people are stuck at that 10% of total remuneration paid. Something to keep in mind is it's the remuneration paid from the reading so far. It looks like your gross pay over that 3-month period. And in this example, each month over 3 months, the employer has paid $129,249. They've also, remember, paid CPP and EI. CPP and EI does not come into play in this calculation, and so that's still out of your pocket. And even though they paid $129,000, their subsidy is only $83.50, and so that actually comes out to 6.5%. Now, the reason the subsidy is only $83.50, even though they've paid $129,000, and the reason it's not 10% of that amount is because of the per employee calculation. We're happy to help you out with these. We have a lot of clients on our payroll system, and if you're already doing payroll with us, we're happy to calculate that out for you. If you have questions, we're happy to help you answer those questions, but this gives you at least an idea of the subsidy that you can claim based on the wording of the release by the Department of Finance on March 18th, and this will be over the next 3 months. And that amount is also based on what you will be deducting off of the each employee, your remuneration to each to the CRA as well. Next, we'll talk about the ROEs, or Record of Employments. The ROE is administered by Service Canada. And so you do have to pay, you do have to file an ROE 5 days after the end of the pay period in which an employee's earnings are interrupted. So as soon as you interrupt your employee's pay, the clock starts ticking, and you have 5 days to make that ROE filing. I put ASAP on there. We put that there because a lot of people are going to want to collect EI if they're available. They want to make these claims as quickly as possible. So to be a kind employee, it would be nice if you could do it the same day or as quickly as possible, so that way there is no interruption in some benefits that the employee wants to claim. The employee will need this ROE to be able to collect EI. When you are filling out that ROE for your employee, there's a few codes that you need to be aware of. So if your employee is sick or quarantined, and now you're filling out an ROE for this reason because they're unable to work, you need to fill out code D, which is for illness. If there's a shortage of work, if you've had to close the shop, or you're just not collecting your receivables, or this COVID-19 crisis is resulting in some sort of shortage of work, and that is why you've laid off your employee, use code A. Code A is for shortage of work. And then there's also a code that we put in there because there are some employees who are just refusing to come to work. They may not be sick or may not be quarantined. And for that code, a lot of people may be even quitting in this environment as well. Use code E. Now, let me put a caveat on that quit code. You are required to allow employees, if they want to quarantine, 14 days off of work. So that's pretty much legislated. So you do need to give them that 14 days off. You cannot just let them go. However, once that 14-day period is over and you want to let them go due to a shortage of work, then absolutely you will fill out that ROE accordingly. The next section we wanted to discuss is employment insurance. So the ROE will be required for the employment insurance. how the employment insurance works, and I will revisit this again near the once we start looking at some of the Canadian and the federal benefits that have been announced. But it's good to understand at least on the a big picture of how EI works. So when you have an employee in your business, you end up paying making a deduction off of their salaries for EI, and then you also pay your employer remittance for EI. So if EI is paid for an employee, then they are very likely entitled to collect some amount of EI. EI does have different areas, so if they've quit, it makes it a little bit more difficult to collect EI, but it really depends on the reason of quitting as well. And so we leave that up to Service Canada to make that discussion. If they're sick, perhaps they've had to self-isolate due to COVID, need to take some time off, what they would do is they would claim sick benefits. Sick benefits will allow an employee up to $573 per week over 15 weeks, and it's based on 55% of their weekly earnings. And I believe, don't hold me to this, is your weekly earnings over the last year. So if you had 52 weeks of earning, total earnings are just over $54,000, you should potentially get that maximum $573 per week. There are also regular benefits for EI. Regular benefits are at 55% of your average weekly earnings, up to $573 per week. However, this is for a longer period of time. This is between 14 to 45 weeks. And again, this one is based on your insurable hours. So when you fill out that ROE for your employee, you'll have to calculate their insurable hours in there as well. And you should be able to get that off of their paychecks and be able to, from the date they started as well, until the date that you let them go. And that'll allow Service Canada to calculate their insurable hours to see how many weeks of EI they would qualify for. We have left the website there as well. If you go to that website, you would be able to figure out, if you're applying for EI or if you want to relay that website to your employee that's being recently let go. That's Service Canada's website, and they should be able to apply for EI straight from there. So this, the Alberta Emergency Isolation Support. This has come out today. It's been announced for a few days, and they said it will be available before April, and the government has come through for us, and it is before April, a few days before, and it is available as of today. And so this is a one-time payment of $1,146. It's for working adults who must self-isolate, and they have no other source of pay or compensation while they're self-isolated. There is a way to apply for this, and a few things to kind of keep in mind. There are criteria, and this is actually ideal for people who do not qualify for EI. So if you don't qualify for EI, for example, if you're self-employed, have your own business, this would be a way to get your payment in. It's a one-time payment from the government of Alberta of $1,146. So some of the reasons is basically if you've had to self-isolate. So if you have to self-isolate for 14 days, there are reasons that you have to do that. For one reason is you recently returned from outside of Canada. You've been in close contact with somebody who has tested positive for COVID, or you have been asked by a healthcare professional for another reason. So if you become sick, you also need to isolate. So if you have a dry cough, fever, difficulty breathing, shortness of breath, runny nose or nasal congestion, those are all, or even a sore throat, those are all reasons to self-isolate as well. This is a self-attestation you will do. I'll take you through the process on how to get this $1,146. And we've gone through the process for a client, and you will be able to collect this today if you go through through all these forms right now. It's available right now, and the government of Alberta is being very quick about being able to get these funds into your pockets. So the first thing you want to do is you want a My Alberta account. So what you need to do is you need to go to this website right here and get a My Alberta account. There's a process, and basically I'm on the website now, and it looks like they're undergoing some maintenance. This is wonderful. I was hoping I could take you through the whole process right now, but unfortunately, it looks like My Alberta accounts are getting likely a large number of people applying. This just came out today, so hopefully you guys can get on there and apply. We do have some screenshots here. Once you go through and get that My Alberta account, what you'll be able to do is you'll get a note, and your final completion phase is basically going to say your activation code will be mailed to the address on your ID card. It should arrive within 10 days. No need to panic. The Alberta government has seen this. They've released in their release as of today, where it's highlighted here, you do not need to wait for the mailed verification code to complete your application. So you'll go through this process. You'll basically put in some personal information. If you have your driver's license, that helps as well, because they'll ask for some information off of your driver's license to verify that it's you, including that barcode at the back of your driver's license. And then you can get this account set up to this phase. Once you're at this screen, you are going to be good to go to get your benefit from the Alberta government. Once you've completed that, you want to go to this website here. And so the alberta.ca emergency isolation support website will allow you to go and apply for this credit. So this is the website here. You basically need to go through this website. It talks about the eligibility criteria, which we'll cover in a moment as well. And then you can go and apply. Now, usually, I see there's some issues right now as well. I think they're facing a large number of people that are applying, but there is usually a icon right here, and I do have a screenshot of that, and that allows you to apply. And so this is the first page I took you to, and it basically says scroll down. Once you scroll down, you'll get a submit an application button, and that's what you want to select. When you go and go to the submit application button, you will come up to this screen here, and it basically lets you know how to apply. It tells you who is not able to get this $1,100 support payment. And so this is the details of who is not able to get that. So if you're not working immediately before you were advised to self-isolate, you do not get the payment. If you are not experiencing a significant loss of income as a result of self-isolation or caring for a dependent who has, due to COVID-19, you do not get the benefit. If you're able to work from home, you do not get the benefit. And if you're currently collecting other forms of income support or employer benefits while self-isolation, such as EI, then you do not get the benefit. And if you're staying home to care for a dependent who is home for a reason other than self-isolation, as advised by the government of Alberta, then you do not get the credit. And of course, this Alberta credit is not available if you reside outside of Alberta. So if none of those are the case, there's a chance that you will qualify. The next screen, once you get past that first screen, is a series of questions. It doesn't take long to answer these questions. They're mostly yes/no questions in terms of, do you currently reside in Alberta? Are you 18 years old or of age or older? And so on. So those are a lot of the questions that they start asking, but then they get into detail of qualifying questions. So you need to be aware of who does qualify as you're answering these questions. So some of the questions that we want to point out to you right now is some of the reasons that you've left work. So did you leave work due to being diagnosed with COVID, caring for a dependent who has been diagnosed with COVID, or have been advised to self-isolate? So those are the areas. So you really, if there's something in there that you say yes to, the chances of qualifying are greater. So if you look at the left side of the screen, you really want to have yes to at least one of those questions, I would think, to be able to qualify for this funding. So the next section says, were you advised to self-isolate in the last 14 days? And then there's also a COVID self-assessment form from the Alberta Health Services that you could complete. And that's a question they asked. If you completed this, did you receive advice to self-isolate? And so one part I just wanted to kind of point out on that form, when you go to that form, is some of the reasons that you must self-isolate. And one of them is being if you've gone through this kind of screening process, is if you have a sore throat or you're feeling unhealthy. And so that's a area that you want to kind of keep in mind. Anyone who has symptoms including fever, cough, shortness of breath, difficulty breathing, a sore throat, runny nose, or nasal congestion must self-isolate for 14 days. And so if you have that, you do need to self-isolate, and then you would end up selecting yes for that as well. And then on the right side of the screen, there are a few more questions that we want to kind of consider as well. So are you experiencing a total or significant, more than 50% loss of income as a result of self-isolation? Remember, experiencing a loss of income is a requirement to be able to get this credit. So really, if you select no to that, you likely won't qualify. Were you working full-time or part-time prior to self-isolation? That is a requirement again. So if you select no to that, you may not qualify. And then, are you able to work from home while being self-isolated? So that's another question that's a requirement as well, that you're not able to work from home. And so if you select yes to that, there's a potential that you don't qualify. Once you answer those questions, you will end up being redirected here. And basically it's saying it wants to take you to your My Alberta account. That's why at the beginning of this process, we went to My Alberta and we registered an account there. Hopefully that's up and running soon so that you're able to do that. It gives you a list of some information that you'll need as well to continue the application process, which is there as well. So you go into the sign-in screen for the My Alberta digital ID, and then you need to agree to their terms of use. And then you come to confirming the information. Now this information will be automatically populated. It'll have your name, etc., that you've already put in. You just need to confirm that that is correct. And then you will need to provide additional information as well. So they'll be asking you which of the following applies. Are you an employee? Are you primarily self-employed? Or are you primarily an independent contractor? So we do know that this is available for self-employed and independent contractors. For employees, there's a bit of a question mark. It's supposed to be available for people who are not qualified for EI. So you may still get it as an employee, but I am not certain. You also need to note your date of isolation. So you've basically filled out this form saying you need to go into self-isolation. Well, now you need to provide the date that you went into self-isolation. I believe the Alberta Emergency Isolation Support is available if you had to go into self-isolation sometime in March, so before April, I believe is the key there. You'll also need to put some security questions, so when and if they do send you a Interact e-transfer, then you can provide that security answer so you can make that deposit into your account as well. You also get a declaration and acknowledgement form. This is the self-attestation that you need to do, and it's basically taking in all the information that you've provided in the previous form, saying that these are the reasons you want to apply, and it's asking you to basically confirm this. So you'll basically say, yes, I promise this is true. Once you do that, you will get a reference number. And so this is kind of the note that you'll get is you will get an email confirming your application, and it'll provide you your reference number as well. That's on the left-hand side there. On the right-hand side, you can see what the email looks like. So they'll give you your reference number. They'll say hello with your name on it, and let you know that you will be getting an email telling you if you qualify. So somebody is likely on the other side verifying this, or it's being done by a bot. But in either case, it does need to be verified with all the answers. Now, if everything goes right, you will get an email, which is on the left-hand side here, saying you qualify for the emergency isolation support benefit, and that you will get your $1,146 within the next 24 hours. And then when they do send you an email with an e-transfer, got a screenshot of that as well, and saying, look, here's your Interact e-transfer, and then you just put in the password for your Interact e-transfer, and that gets automatically deposited into your account. So this was available starting today. We went through the process, and it does work. You do need that My Alberta account, which we can see as we just checked right now, was temporarily unavailable, and then you need to be able to go through the emergency support website on Alberta government's website, and that will allow you to fill out the forms and provide an attestation to get this deposit. The whole process took about an hour. Not bad to get a $1,146 for an hour's worth of time, but it gives you an idea of what the Alberta government is providing. So I know a lot to take in there. I'm hoping that you guys are able to ask questions through a chat, if that's available there, and hopefully Raj and Shafiq and Sushant are monitoring that chat to answer those questions. On March 18th, the federal government had announced a couple other emergency benefits as well. One of them being the emergency care benefit. As of today, that is no longer there. They're replacing this, so they're not taking it away. They're replacing it with something else. There was also a emergency support benefit. Again, that is no longer there. They're replacing it with something else. So those benefits, when we looked at them, they were very similar to the EI benefit. The first benefit, the emergency care benefit, was basically if you fall ill, you'll get $450 a week for 14 weeks. EI is a little bit more generous with their payment, but that was giving you some sort of sick leave for that period of time. And then the emergency support benefit was like the regular EI. They hadn't provided the full amounts available right away. They were going to release that later on, and they never did. What they've done is they've actually provided a new benefit as of today. So this was released by the Department of Finance this morning, saying that they're replacing the emergency care benefit and emergency support benefit that was previously announced with the Canada Emergency Response Benefit. So the CERB is going to be available soon. What it's going to be is it's going to be $2,000 a month for up to 4 months. So this is for workers who lose their incomes as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. The interesting part is who qualifies, and the federal government is now treating all people the same for this 4-month period. They're treating employees as well as self-employed individuals equally, which is kind of nice. I know a lot of self-employed people have kind of gotten the short end of the stick quite often in terms of being able to collect benefits, and they would have with the previous benefits that are now no longer there. And so all Canadians who have ceased work due to COVID-19, whether they're EI eligible or not, will get $2,000 a month for up to 4 months. This also includes workers who are still employed and not receiving income because of disruptions to their work due to COVID-19. I know a lot of you are concerned. You've had to close shop, and we're wondering, okay, do I lay off my employees? Well, if you are not paying them because you've had to close your restaurant, your daycare, your chiropractic clinic, etc., because of COVID-19, these employees can also collect this CERB benefit. So there's other, detailed reasons: lost job, you're sick, you're quarantined, you're taking care of someone who's sick. Maybe you're a parent and school is out, and somebody needs to watch the kids, so you need to stay at home to do that. These are all reasons that you can get this kind of emergency response benefit. There's details if you go to this link here. It was released by the Department of Finance as of today, and it kind of gives you a long-winded answer to what we've kind of outlined here as well. Some more details on this benefit. A lot of people might be asking, and to answer those questions is that this is for all Canadians who have ceased work due to COVID-19, whether they are EI eligible or not. Canadians who are already receiving EI or regular sickness benefits as of today would continue to receive those EI benefits, and so they should not apply for the CERB. However, if their benefits expire before October 30th, 2020, and they're still unable to return to work because of COVID-19, at that time they can apply. And if they just recently applied for EI, do not send in another application. This will be transferred over automatically. And Canadians who are eligible for EI, regular and sickness benefits would still be able to access their normal EI benefits after this 16-week or 4-month period covered by the CERB. So the CERB is available for the periods of March 15th to October 3rd and will be paid every 4 weeks. I know it's after March 15th. We're into March 25th now. This was just released today. So very likely early April. I'm hoping it's the first couple of days they'll allow the application process to start, and so we will let you know as soon as that's available through our Twitter account, through our blogs, and emails as well, just to keep you guys in the loop. But kind of stay tuned for that CERB. It will be a decent $8,000. I know that's not going to necessarily cover everything for everyone, but it is something that is available coming soon. To prepare for the CERB benefit, what you want to do is you want to make sure your CRA My Account. So this is different from the provincial government's Alberta My Account. This is now through Canada Revenue Agency. You want to make sure you have access. So this will be over the CRA account. To get there, basically go to the CRA's website, and you can from CRA's website you can start to sign into your CRA account. And if you go through this process, if you don't have one, it will help you get there. But really, you want this My Account. This is what you want. So that way, once you register for My Account, you'll need your social insurance number, etc., to be able to sign in. And kind of register for that as well. So I would do that sooner rather than later. As we can see, the Alberta My Account is getting inundated. Perhaps that's why they're closed temporarily. But you probably want to do the CRA My Account sooner, because on the day of the release of these benefits, it's likely going to have a lot of people trying to get in there as well. Again, you'll probably be asked a series of questions. The Department of Finance has noted a couple of things here. They've noted that you'll have to attest that you meet the eligibility requirements, and you will also need to reattest every 2 weeks to reconfirm your eligibility for the CERB. So some additional business supports, and I want to add in that I was supposed to ask Shafiq and Raj to kind of chime in, but I'm having some IT issues in terms of trying to unmute people here. So my apologies to Raj and Shafiq and even Sushant and Janine for not being able to get them in here. But hopefully this is still of benefit to all of you, even though you end up being stuck listening to me for the bulk of this. So additional business supports available are going to be coming soon. Details have not been released, but a lot of this is extra credit, extra financing available for business owners. So we will let you know when we find out more information on these, but really looks like more loans available. Now, as a big picture, I just want to make sure everyone is aware. Sooner or later, we're going to get out of this COVID pandemic. And if you don't structure your finances correctly, I know we need to look after short term. There is no long term planning without getting through the short term cash crunch. But keep in mind that as Sushant had mentioned, your loans do continue to accumulate interest. So keep that in mind if you're making no payments. If you start getting other credit facilities out there, you are going to end up having to pay that back. It's not free money. The benefits that I've pointed out from the Alberta government and the federal government is sort of free money. It is taxable, so I want to underline that it is a taxable amount that's coming to you, but it is some cash flow coming into your pockets. These loans that will be made available as well, again, cash flow coming into your business to help you make ends meet, but it is not going to be something that's free money. You do have to pay that back. WCB has also announced premium relief measures for private employers. So if you have invoice for 2020 premiums, those have been stopped for the remainder of the year. And any payments that you've already made for 2020 premiums will be refunded to the employer. Some personal supports that we wanted to point out as well. So on the personal side, you should be getting the Canada Child Benefit. So if this is for parents with children, you should receive an additional $300 for each child. I know the Canada Child Benefit is income tested. However, the releases that we've seen thus far do not mention income tested. So if in the past you haven't got the Canada Child Benefit because you make too much money, I don't think that this one will be clawed back. At least we haven't seen anything that says it will be clawed back. There's also a utility deferral available in Alberta. So if you want to defer your utility payments for your electricity or natural gas, call your service provider and they will allow you to make no payments on that and defer it for 90 days. Your property tax in Alberta, it was set to, the provincial portion was set to increase by 3.5%. So that increase will not go through. The cities have not been able to thus far provide any reprieve. Reason is cities have to have a balanced budget. I don't think they're allowed to go into deficit. And so they are talking to the provincial government as well as the federal government to see if they can provide the city with some funding so that way they can provide some relief on property taxes as well. However, thus far that is not coming through. There's going to be a GST credit as well. The GST credit will be income tested. If you have low income, then you should receive $150 per child, up to $300 for a family. So that GST credit will come to you as well. And there's student loans available as well. So the Canada as well as the Alberta student loan, that will be made interest-free for a period of 6 months. So that's another benefit that will be coming your way as well. We do have additional resources available. Please check out our COVID blog. It's on our website. The website is available right there. We do have a blog. All the blogs for Shijani as well as Equitus is going to the Equitus blog. And we also have a YouTube channel where we're trying to get a lot of this information out as it comes through. And then, of course, our Twitter account as well is a little bit more immediate as well. These things do take time to put together, but we are trying to get this out to you as soon as we can. As soon as we hear of information out there, we're trying to make that available through our blog as well as our Twitter site as well. So please do visit that area regularly, and you can kind of see all our responses for COVID here. There's been a number of them kind of coming through our blog site as well. So this is where we have the questions side available as well. I'm a little reluctant to unmute all. It looks like we have quite a few attendees today. I think we had 147 plus register, and so and I see we have over 100 already here. So what I'm going to do is ask you to email us questions, and hopefully Raj and Shafiq and Sushant have been able to address some of these queries via the chat box and being able to answer your questions in real time. Otherwise, we appreciate you guys as clients. We are here for you. I know this is a difficult time, and we're trying to do what we can to get the information out to you, and we will try and keep this as a regular occurrence throughout. Thank you again, and hopefully you guys are all staying safe, washing your hands, and staying healthy throughout this pandemic.